Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Genshin Impact video. Another Genshin Impact critique video by none other than one of the OG Genshin Impact critiquers in the space, Glaive Kyo. And bro has been on a bit of a rampage lately, and that just kind of goes to show when Glaive Kyo's channel spamming Genshin Impact videos is doing really well, then you know that the Genshin Impact player base is really fucking pissed off. And the topical area that he's going to be covering for today is the psychological trick Genshin uses to silence criticism. And as we all know, there's been a lot of criticism right now, so maybe this will be like a bit of like a past look into some of the prior situations and how the players can ensure that those situations don't happen again. Let's go ahead. Let's see it.
나야 페이커야.
Isn't that Faker?
I think it is.
Why'd you have to bring Faker into this, my friend? What did bro ever do to you?
It's actually kind of wild how easy it is nowadays to completely distract the audience. For a while there, it looked like the Genshin community was finally standing on business.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, bro, these videos have been popping the fuck off, and that's how you know people are really pissed off with 6.6 and the Cyberpunk collab.
With a full-blown revolt over terrible rewards. People were review bombing the official pages.
If the ratings went back to normal, it's because Google deleted reviews.
And the entire player base was practically a forest fire, but we are united for the same cause. But then,
everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
The developers dropped a high-quality character trailer, and the entire protest felt like it just vanished into thin air.
Wait, so this all basically came to a standstill, and this all basically died because of Nicole's teaser?
It's a weird loop we see play out constantly. The teaser also caused a wave of—
Now he sounds normal. Did he slow himself down?
Corporate defenders crawling out of the woodwork to tell everyone to stop complaining. And just like that, usually, the movement ends. But if the FOMO doesn't get you, you realize that the game has some deep issues that aren't being fixed nearly fast enough for a multi-billion-dollar nuclear reactor-owning company.
I just finished a video over here where this creator was like talking about how this dev over here in their Shneznaya preview couldn't stop bitching and moaning about how hard it was to add features in an open world game. How Hoyoverse was finding it really difficult to find ways to innovate in Genshin Impact. Because their budget is so small and their resources are so thin. Yep, absolutely.
The whole situation shows exactly how a massive company can manipulate its audience without ever addressing the issues.
And 100%, this whole speech over here where this dude's just like pity farming, like basically lying to the player base about how hard work is for them so they get like more mercy when they add in dog shit new features. Yeah, it's bullshit, bro.
While letting the defenders take action. Yes, once again, this is not a player issue. This is a developer issue. You just need to open your eyes to it.
It's a developer issue because this type of developer and this type of communication and this type of unwillingness to fix things, it only attracts a very like special player base. And by special, I mean because they'll just kind of like sit there, be treated badly, never get the things that they're looking to get fixed actually fixed, and then they'll like stay there and like say that what happened is good. Every single time, bro. And you'll see this not in just Genshin Impact. You'll see it in Arknight's Enfield. You'll see it in Neverness to Everness. You'll see it in Zenless Zone Zero. And sometimes you'll even see it in Wuthering Waves. Not as often in that game, but you'll still see it there too. It's when something is just objectively bad, gets added to the game, and then these guys say it's fine. Exploration locked behind gacha characters in NTE. You'll have it for the gacha system in AKE. You'll have it for the story in ZZZ. Good God, that thing is fucking bad. You'll have it for the paths in HSR, Remembrance, and then like fucking, what is it? Elation, how that just griefs you on your account's previous investments. And then you got a Genshin over here with, well, the fact that they're giving out 60 fucking pulls a version.
For around 2 weeks straight, you could—
And Wuwa, you had it for no combat events for 3 patches in a row, and how that's actually fine, because I'm playing 7 gacha games at once.
couldn't look anywhere without seeing players clowning on the game. And the devs as well, literally. They were complaining about almost everything. The gacha pull income was entirely dried up, the events felt incredibly lazy, and the rewards were basically crumbs. And people were genuinely furious about that. And now the stage is set. Here comes the multi-million-dollar question. What does Hoyoverse, a multi-billion-dollar company, do in this situation?
Nothing, or nothing, or nothing, or D, nothing 3 times.
Yes, that's right. They did nothing, said nothing, addressed nothing, changed nothing, 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 nothing.
And that's honestly the tactic that I feel like works once you reach a certain size. It's like fuck you money, but for a company, where they're saying fuck you to the players. Another example of a game that did exactly this is Arknight's Enfield, where they had enough fuck you money from the regular Arknights to just like sweep this PayPal thing under the rug until 4 months later. Update on PayPal service restoration in certain regions. Do you know when PayPal went down for this game? January 22nd, 2026. It is now May 24th. It took over 4 months for this thing to be restored, and like they just didn't talk about it for 4 months. And guess what? Neither did the sponsored CCs, neither did the sponsored streamers, neither. But hey, it's back. Devs, listen.
Didn't apologize, and they didn't promise to do better when the review bombing started, and people voiced out their concerns in the official Discord, with valid criticism, by the way. Hoyoverse just straight up banned them and deleted their reviews. And yes,
well, that's not technically nothing, Glaive. Glaive, you're actually spreading misinformation here. They did do something. They censored the players. So that's not nothing.
they stayed completely silent through it all. And right now you might be thinking, why wouldn't Hoyoverse just address the issue directly, like literally any other gacha company out there?
This is my take, though, unfortunately, on the NTE situation. They should have done this because they actually just lied to players. The fact that they did this honestly might mean this. It just might mean NTE doesn't have fuck you money.
Heck, at this point, rather than them literally saying nothing, I would take a free 20 polls in the mail as an apology. But ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between, Dawei knows something we don't. And that is why he is the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, and I'm a bum. Instead of fighting back or addressing anything, they dropped a few high-quality teasers and trailers. And lo and behold, unexpectedly, literally overnight, the entire narrative flipped.
I'm telling you guys, that shit kind of just works. Like, it kind of just fucking works because you can just weaponize the audience that you have. And Genshin Impact has one of the most mentally ill audiences, not in just like gacha or just like gaming, but like society as a whole. Because if you're still like a legitimate, like huge mega fan of this game, bro, this is how bad it is right now. Doro44 is uploading videos. He's fence-sitting a little bit for sure, but Doro44, Hoyo44 is uploading videos about how bad the pull count and shit like this is. At a certain point, you've got to recognize, like, if you're fully on the side of the devs and you're like, 60 pulls, this is the best shit ever. I love it, right? Nicole, bro, there's really got to be something wrong with you at this point, right?
We went from a community-wide meltdown over how low the poll counts are compared to literally any other game on the market to people screaming about the Nicole trailer. Oh my...
And that's it for the boycott, folks.
My god, Nicole trailer! Her story is amazing! Everyone suddenly forgot they were mad because they were too busy analyzing the lore. It took literally a single 2-minute video to completely erase a week of protest, and I think that is just well played from Hoyoverse.
It's because they've done this before, bro. Do you know how many times they fucking done this? Wait, how do you think they got away with the 3 polls during Lantern Rite? How do you think they got away with all of the other dramas that they've had in the past before, bro? It's just, hey, put something shiny in front of our stupid audience and the problem will resolve itself.
Almost respect it.
And once you think about it, maybe Genshin systems are designed to weed out intelligent people so they just have literal sheep left to manage, like shepherds.
This is why Genshin is the LeBron James of gacha games. Not because it is the best of all time, but because they just clutch up in impossible situations, and it's insane. But in the same vein, I can't really blame
LeBron is not clutch though. LeBron is like the like the anti-clutch. No, he's the dude that's like passing it to other people in crunch time because he actually doesn't make those shots.
them either though, because
He doesn't like once in a while, but like he's not known as a clutch as like the clutch guy.
yes, it is a high
Look at this dude that doesn't even live in the United States, like fucking LARPing about the NBA over here. Hey, should have used fucking Steph Curry, bro.
quality video with lore drops in it. It is also because I understand that the movement started not because the players wanted the game to be completely die and go bankrupt. They really just want better treatments, and they want the game that they love to become better. The roots of the movement itself isn't hate. It is really just the love for the game itself.
I mean, that's how it is for most people that were critiquing it. Guys, like, I mean, this is the thing. When it comes to something, the worst state that something can be in your mind isn't hated. It's indifferent. You don't think about it. If you're like a game or you're like a company, you'd much prefer to be hated than to have people be indifferent to you. Because if people hate you or hate your game or whatever, at the very least, you know they care about something when it comes to you or your game. You know that they care about something. If you're at the point where people don't even talk about you anymore, if you're at the point where people don't even like watch your game, even to hate watch it, people don't even watch you to hate watch you, that just means that they don't care about you or the game at all. And that is the worst state you could possibly fucking be in as a game. Do you want to know a game where people are kind of just indifferent right now, where they don't care about it? Does anyone like care about this game? I will like seasonally hate it out of just love for the game. But like in terms of like talking about it, watching it, actively seeking content on it out, bro, this might be one of the most unthought of games ever. Like legit, like it is actually mind-blowing to me that it's been just at these numbers since. But do you see what I mean for like love of the game? Bro, this shit is like drugs pumping into my fucking veins when I refresh this page and I see the number go down. Dude, it's fucking, it's fun. Bro, it's fun because I hate this game so much because the devs are so bad. It's like, dude, that was a live stream. And because they're paying people to watch the live stream. They're like, please. I'm sorry, bro. Anyways, this is an example of a game where people are indifferent to it. If people actually like hated it or really loved it, it would have more viewers and more engagement at a baseline. I'm kind of like the only guy that like truly, really hates this game. You want to know another game? Hoyo players should be really familiar with this one, where people are just indifferent to it. Bro, nobody cares about ZZZ anymore. It's like, dude, what is... Dude, nobody cares about this game. You'd prefer to be hated than to have nobody care about you at all.
So it's normal to get hyped for whatever media Genshin releases. My biggest worry isn't that people started showing love for the game again, but my biggest worry is about the people who are defending Genshin for its bad practices and effectively shutting down criticism.
And you want to know another community that's actively doing that at the moment? Unfortunately, it's NTEs. Brother, NTE is out here, and it's had a massive player fall off naturally due to the fact that the game simply isn't really, it's more of like a side game, and even as like a side game, there's like a lot of playtime involved in like mini games and stuff like that. Not really like a core gameplay loop that a lot of people coming from other gachas will fully be able to absorb unless they have like a bunch of time. NTE also has an issue with the massive amount of toxic positivity, where they don't even want you making content on the game unless you're going to glaze it. And so there's very few people actually watching NTE content right now. Just a group of hyper toxic positive people just going around from video to video, mass upvoting or disliking stuff based off of whether or not they're mindlessly shilling NTE or they're criticizing it. And I've been a victim, as you know, on the criticism side. But the good news is that I don't give a fuck. And it's really easy for me to call out all these retarded people. They're literally spamming comments like this and pushing them to the top. What is he doing here? He hates this game. It's not for him. Translation: You're not allowed to make content on NTE unless you're going to make the content positive. And guys, this is the stuff that's reaching the top. It's so retarded, it's crazy.
People who make excuses for the company, and the people who invalidate opinions because they don't align with their own opinion. And since Genshin put out those high-quality teasers and
Classic. Yeah, classic.
trailers, I have started seeing these defenders more and more. So let's address them. For example, there is someone who posted a joke that critiques the game at the same time. If I do these remaining story quests, I will have 3 pulls. That's very funny, right? Poking fun at the low rewards of Genshin, showing a row of unfinished character story quests and saying that if you finish them all, you will only get 3 pulls from it. That's ridiculous. Well, it's funny until you realize that this person was not joking at all.
Well, and there's also no skip button, so it takes like, I think it would take like 10 plus hours to do all those story quests, right? Like 10 plus hours for 3 pulls?
They're not joking. Every single one of those story quests gives you 60 primo gems. The video showed 10 uncompleted quests. 10 times 60 is 600. When a single pull costs
10 2-hour quests. Oh boy.
160 primo gems, 600 will only give you, quite literally, 3 pulls with a little bit of leftovers. Mind you, because you don't have a skip button, each of those quests takes you about 2 or 3 hours to sit through. So basically, 30 hours of playtime for 3 pulls. Does that sound good to you? The
Oh, okay.
actual structure of these quests makes it even worse, especially if you look at how they handle things before Natlan. And it's pretty ironic too, because these character story quests aren't even really about the characters. What
My personal take is this. It's kind of like it's a bit of like an impossible balance, right? If the story quests were worth more primos, then people would be mad because there would be less primos elsewhere in the patch, and now they have to play the story quest to get rewards. If there were less primos, then people would just never do the story quests at all. So it's kind of like some weird like balancing thing where it's kind of just like, yeah, maybe you should just add the skip button and then let people do them if they want to.
I mean by that is that you're not interacting with the character much. Instead, you spend hours doing fetch quests for random NPCs.
And this is kind of like the big kicker over here. I don't want to do this shit. It looks retarded.
Somehow connects to the story character.
And most people also don't want to do this shit because it looks super retarded.
These NPCs are the ones to tell you about the story character, what they did in the past, what their personality is like, and how they like to dip their feet in water with socks on. And then around the end, the game puts you into a domain where you finally get to play the character for yourself for about 10 minutes. And then they give you a good enough cutscene at the finish line. Why is it good enough? Because it is somehow a very effective psychological trick to make you forget that you just wasted 3 hours talking to a random NPC. And what you'll remember instead is the very good cutscene.
They do this a lot. Instead of like it being like a shit sandwich, it's like an ice cream cone, right? And at the very top, it's kind of like an ice cream cone, yeah. Except, you know like those drumstick ice cream cones where there's chocolate at the bottom of the cone, but you kind of gotta like eat everything to get to the chocolate? These story quests are like, it's instead of ice cream, it's poo. And like eventually there's chocolate at the bottom of the cone, but you just gotta eat a bunch of poo to get there. And like, I guess the chocolate tastes so good to some of these stupid players that they forget all the shit they ate to get to the chocolate.
It's more an advertisement than gameplay, more marketing than actually learning the background and lore of these characters. But again, Natlan story quests are not like that. Some of Fontaine, if I remember correctly, but that's not important. Anyways, this is what I'm talking about. Suddenly, the defenders are...
Is it an effective analogy or not? Did you get the point or not? Oh, we can even take it further. They're so used to the flavor of Dwayne shit that they don't even care that it's poo anymore.
KO'd out of nowhere to protect the multi-billion-dollar company. One account quote tweeted the joke and argued that the real problem is the players. Let's look at it together. For me, this is the problem. You see the additional quest as a source of resources and not as playable content to enjoy by being able to dive a little deeper into the story of such and such character.
But what if the story sucks?
Aside the gambling addiction, play for fun if you want and enjoy it.
But they are forcing you to play because they only gave me 60 pulls in the update, and I need like 75 to soft pity the character. So like effectively, if I even want to pull on the character this patch or have an opportunity of pulling them, I would need to do these story quests.
No one forces you to play them. Yeah, the rewards are ridiculously small, but don't complain about getting extra game content because it'll end up like with the encounters and they will remove them.
A lot of people like to equate more content automatically means better. Let me make this very simple for you. You ask your friend, hey, friend, could you go mow my lawn for me? They mow your lawn. Then they also decide to like trim your shrubs, clean up your backyard, do all of this other shit, all these other chores. Let's just say they mowed your lawn well, but then they fucked up the rest of your house. They just fucked everything up, the rest of your house. Are you going to be excited that they did more? Or are you going to be upset that they didn't do like that good of a job with all the other additional stuff that they did unasked for? You're probably going to be upset about all the extra stuff that they did because you're likely going to have to go back, maybe clean it up later, unfuck up things in other places, blah, 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 all of that. That's what these gacha games like NTE and Genshin are kind of doing with the content that they have. There's a lot of just excess bullshit that nobody gives a fuck about in both of those games. There's a reason why NTE's player fall off has been immense. It's because there's sometimes just too much content for most normal players to want to be able to actually play. More bullshit you have to like get through to, I don't know, like actually get to the things that you want. And it's annoying when you get to a certain point where, okay, to enjoy the things that I want, I have to go through hours of stuff that I don't want. And I just feel like people think at a baseline, oh, me having more stuff to do is amazing because my life doesn't have a lot of things to do. And so this game having a bunch of time wasters that are insignificant and mean nothing is awesome for me. I think a lot of people only play Genshin Impact, bro. Like, straight up. Like, they don't actually play anything else. They don't have any other things to do. And so more things in Genshin Impact is a good thing for them. But not really for the average gamer. But like I said before, Genshin Impact players are mentally ill, so is it really that surprising?
As you can see, these are actually some of the first lines in How to Defend Genshin playbook. Blame the players, no one forces you to play them, redirect the original arguments. This is basic stuff, which is why it falls apart so easily the second you actually think about it. And this is
who cares if there's no events in this update and only 0 polls? You don't have to play the game, so like it doesn't even matter if the devs don't give anything, just don't play it then if you don't like it, bro.
how I know this person is a Genshin player, because they can't read. Nowhere did the original poster complain about extra game content. And I would argue, and actually I'm sure of it, nobody is complaining about extra game content. Why would anyone do that? Why would anyone want a dry patch, a dry game, with nothing to do in it other than mint picking? The real problem here is that the game's entire economy is built to force you into this exact mindset of
it's when the extra content is dog shit and you know the extra content is only being done to fill up your playtime instead of actually being a good experience.
Looking at things as a source of currency. This is a gacha game, meaning a system entirely designed around collecting characters through a lottery. You see the additional quest as a source of resources and not as playable content. Yeah, because God forbid I want to pull characters in a gacha game, am I right? When you remember that they're giving out 60 pulls per patch, and a guaranteed character can cost up to 180 pulls.
Why do you think Genshin makes a decent amount of cash? I think it's a lot of people that have no financial knowledge at all. Baited into spending hundreds of dollars every patch. Like, I feel like that has to be it.
Mojam sources are incredibly dry. It is normal to set aside the just enjoy emotion and to seek wherever you can to scrape together a measly few primo gems just to attempt another chance to get that limited banner character. No one forces you to play them, as if the person who posted it didn't know that already. Like, this is some common logic playing at hand. It is crazy because the company literally manipulates you, incentivizing you to play the quest with more rewards, with a whopping amount.
You will need 5 calendar days for your quest experience and bonus rewards for completing within the time limit that include, 30 of the level. Ooh. Damn, imagine putting a FOMO on a story quest. Hey, it's like doing 2 story quests at once, bro.
Of additional primo gems.
Oh wait, they even time gated this one too to make it extra annoying.
Double the rewards for playing the story quest during a certain period of time. You better finish this story quest in this time period or you will lose the extra primo gems.
I don't really think you can even bother trying to defend the company anymore if they're going to put a limited time reward on completing story quests. Main story, I can understand, right? Because usually main story locks off like other areas. And so just for like the sake of people being able to keep up with the next patch, sure, I get main story. But side story FOMO, oh, that's wild, bro.
Yeah, right, they're not forcing us, but like they might as well. They're absolutely using psychological
yeah, no, because that's a story quest, bro. That ain't no main quest.
Tricks to make sure you do it. Plus, you can't blame players for seeing everything in terms of pulling currency in a gacha game, when the game itself conditions and encourages this mindset as a part of its business model. It is not the players' fault if it's
boy, wasn't this boss super fun if you, didn't have, what's her name? Lauma?
literally in the game's basic design. I find it hard to understand how people are struggling to understand that other players just want rewards to equalize with the amount of time invested in the game instead of crumbs. You can't just design a game around extreme resource scarcity and then act shocked when your player base turns your content like a second job. I also want to talk about a take on the situation by a content creator named TGS. Now, disclaimer, this person isn't a complete shill who ignores
Oh boy, we're getting the Genshin scientist in here? Oh dearie me.
criticisms and glazes the game perpetually. I have read a few of his opinions, and from what I have seen, I think most of them are pretty grounded opinions. I could be wrong, but even here, while he is technically right, but I think he is completely missing the bigger picture.
Let's see it.
And the people on Twitter are getting the wrong idea. So let's look at it together. There is this weird narrative that Genshin never improves, which I really don't understand. Are there still flaws? Sure. Did the game improve a lot in terms of story presentation, character quality, quality of life, aesthetic, endgame modes compared to years ago? Absolutely yes.
Okay, alright. So, imagine it's like this. Let's say you're an amputee who doesn't have an arm. And one of your improvements that you have planned for the upcoming year is to get a new prosthetic arm. Somebody gives you a prosthetic arm. It's a giant dildo. And so, technically, yes, your life has improved because you now have an arm, but, like, that doesn't mean it's improved in, like, the way that you wanted. Yes, they added Stygian Onslaught, so there's more endgame modes than years before. Is Stygian Onslaught a good endgame mode? Just like how would a giant dildo be a true alternative to a prosthetic arm? No! Stygian Onslaught is fucking dog shit! The quality of life is dog shit! Bro, their quality of life for time-limited domains that alternate every day was to add FOMO to the first 2 weeks of every banner, where the domains get unlocked for the new character. How about you just make all the domains available at the same time? It's like glazing or saying, oh, well, technically it got better when they did the bare minimum, or in some cases worse than the bare minimum, is crazy. Yes, they added a new endgame mode, but it's just a vehicle to shill the newest on-banner character, where enemies, bosses, literally cannot be fought unless you pulled the newest unit. Bro, what are we doing over here talking about how the game has improved?
Years ago? Absolutely yes. Now, my opinion, the people who say that Genshin never improves are likely exaggerating, but I also can still understand where they are coming from.
My take is that if you're improving by adding features that make the game worse, that's not improving. I think Stygian Onslaught objectively makes the fucking game worse. I think the changes they made to the endgame make the fucking game worse. I think the Imaginarium Theater makes the fucking game worse.
It is not that Genshin is not improving at all, it is that Genshin is not improving in the rates that it should. With the amount of money they collect per month, we all know those same people who boast about it on Twitter. Improvements should be better and way more frequent.
They shouldn't be using Stygian Onslaught as a way to sell new units. It should have just been like a fun boss rush mode where you get to test out your account. Instead, you get to test out whether or not your credit card can afford a new character every patch.
Should be getting major fixes every single patch, not a couple of small updates tossed at us once a year. It is a 6-year-old game with multi-billion-dollar revenue. The others you mentioned are pretty subjective, but you say that the game improved a lot in terms of quality of life compared to years ago. But has it really? A lot? Really? They updated the artifact loadout 3 times, and it was still shit all 3 times. They updated the weapon banner 2 times, and guess what? It was still shit both times.
It's still the worst weapon banner out of all Hoyo games, because in the other Hoyo games, the fate point doesn't expire. In this game, it expires. So yes, it's better than Iteration 1, but when Iteration 1 was basically the equivalent of, like, fucking getting your balls chopped off, just because, or, like, bro, Iteration 1 was like getting your whole dick chopped off. That was Iteration 1 of the weapon banner. And, like, now, it's like, it's just the tip. And you're, like, saying, well, they made it better. How about it just doesn't chop off my dick in the first place? Like, how about it just doesn't do that?
Did it get better? Sure. But even if it got better, it is still pretty shit. And
that's like the thing. It's just like, yes, things got better. But when you're going from, like, down here to, like, up here, you're still below 0. So, like, why are you even talking about it getting better?
Disappointingly, you are not addressing that.
Bro, it's like you're, like, an indentured servant, and, like, oh, previously your rations were, like, 1 piece of moldy bread and, like, half a glass of water. Those were your rations before. And, like, now your rations improved to 1.5 pieces of moldy bread. And you're like, you know what, Johnny? We shouldn't have the revolt. We really shouldn't have the revolt. Look, we now get a half extra piece of moldy bread every meal. Like, that's what that tweet from TGS sounds like.
Didn't touch on the pace either. For example, back in 6.0, there was a quality of life updates that enables you to choose to spend either 20 or 40 original resin directly at the ley line or the domain tree. Spending 40 directly gives you double rewards. Is that good? That is fantastic. That is amazing for Genshin standards, because when you look around, you will realize that just about every other game in the genre has had that feature since day one without.
This like reminds me of like, imagine Genshin's like the kid, and then one day, this kid has been showing up to school with no shoes every day. And then one day, the Genshin kid shows up with shoes on. That's like what this is, bro. And now we're out here being like, look how generous Hoyoverse is, finally giving that kid some shoes. Like, when everyone else hasn't been walking around barefoot the whole time.
Needing to craft the condensed resin thing. It took Genshin 5 years to implement something that
it's like 5 years of walking around barefoot.
Basic. Not to mention that there is still so many glaring issues that they just refuse to touch. Weekly boss limitations need a rework.
Dude, I completely forgot weekly bosses can give you up to 3 randomized mats, and they can only challenge one of them a week. So it takes like 10 weeks to like level up one character. I forgot that.
Players use their 3 weekly reward chances on the same boss if they choose to, allowing them to focus heavily on a new character. Condensed resin is still capped at 5.
No, guys, if you thought weekly boss mats were bad in Woo-Wah, there are people that bitch about those. Bro, it can take you like 5+ weeks, 6+ weeks to do your Genshin ones.
Matter of fact, why do we even need them to begin with? Make a resin overflow system, please! We still don't have a dialogue skip button either, which makes sitting through hours of unvoiced world quest feel like absolute torture. But
TGS said they added quality of life. But TGS said that I get to double claim my resin now, so I don't need any of this.
Woo-Wah and ZZZ are improving at a much higher rate compared to Genshin. And no, it's not the engine's fault. Don't make that excuse. This is just the fact that Genshin devs are hella lazy and incompetent.
I don't know. It's just like, this is what I mean by the Genshin community, bro. It's like, you could out here literally being treated by like second-class citizens across the gacha space, and then like Hoyoverse like fucking steps on your balls, and you're like, thank you. Like, what are we doing here as players? Like, what are we even doing here as CCs? Like, bro, guys, like I said before, Doro44 is calling this shit out, and there are still people defending it. Guys, if Doro is calling it out, what are we doing here? How are we defending it and Doro's not? Can we just rationalize that for a second? He's the guy that, maybe not now, he previously got paid to defend it, and he's not doing it no more.
And no, again, before any of you foam at the mouth because I did a comparison, this is not tribalism. It is not a case of everything X game does is good and everything Genshin does is bad. These are products, games of the same genre, and comparisons are normal. If anything, it is healthy to compare these games in a critiquing manner, not to get a dunk on the game that is lacking, but to encourage the consumers to ask for more. And to be honest, that is the whole reason I'm making these videos. The 6.6 update is dropping on May 20th. That might be today or in a couple of days, depending.
Bro, you uploaded this on the 22nd. What the fuck is you doing? How long was this shit in the fucking oven for, bro?
On when you watch this video, but the cycle is always more or less the exact same. There's massive lore drops, and the story might change people's minds. Nicole might be game-breaking, who knows? I don't follow the meta anymore. But because of those reasons, a lot of the people who swore they were boycotting the game after that disastrous livestream are going to cave in. They're gonna get FOMO'd, and they will log right back in to cancel the boycotts, to play the story, and to pull the characters.
Because this is the reality over here. A lot of these guys won't actually say it, but they just enjoy slop. They just actually like slop. That's the facts. That's the reality over here. And it's not wrong to like slop, but if you do, you should probably own it, right? There are a lot of people that are proud of the fact that they watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. If somebody were to try to pretend that Keeping Up with the Kardashians is like really high quality TV with like very amazing characters and stuff like that, and you know, it's like the pinnacle of reality television, right? I'd call them retarded. But if somebody just said, yeah, it's garbage, but I kind of like garbage, I've got no issues at all with that. I don't think anyone would have any issues at all with that. But when you have Genshin Impact players that are trying to pretend that this game is improving like crazy, trying to pretend that these devs actually listen, trying to pretend that they're actually moving really fast and changing a lot of things and making a lot of stuff better, it's just objectively false. It's just not true, and it's just wrong. But these guys, CCs, defenders everywhere, right? They'll just straight up lie or present information in such a dishonest way to try to paint the illusion that Genshin's not slop, Genshin's not garbage. Guys, it's actually not embarrassing for me to like this game, like, so I'm gonna, like, lie about it to make it seem that way. Just admit that you like garbage, you like slop, you like getting milked, you like low-quality stuff, just because you've already spent so much money on the game, so you can't let it go. There's no problem with that, right? There's no problem with that at all. There's still, bro, that's everyone playing fucking FGO. Bro, you're playing FGO in 2026, you're probably mentally ill. You probably got something. Let's be real here. Playing FGO in 2026, there's probably something wrong with you. And you know that's a fact.
Honest, I don't think anybody should be guilty about that. I'm not here to judge you for wanting to play a game you love.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with being like that little bit mentally ill until it, you know, causes you to do weird stuff in your life. As long as it doesn't get there, like, who cares, man? We're all a little bit mentally ill once you think about it.
Or for getting excited about characters you have waited months to see. I'm just saying, for the people that watch this video, the thing people forget is that the casual players who just want the new content and the angry critics who are demanding better treatments are actually on the same boat. If the pressure from the community forces the developers to make the game better, every single player wins. And
it's been 6 years, bro. They don't care anymore. Like, if anything, Woo-Wah came out and then the game got, and the Genshin got worse. I think they realized, shit, yeah, we cannot keep up, like, in actual, like, technological stuff. Let's just power creep everything in the game.
likewise, if Genshin keeps going on this path, eventually they will sink, and we are all going to drown. This is not a hate post. If anything, this is a love post. I love the game, I really do. I want it to improve as much as you do. You can enjoy a game a lot, but that doesn't change the fact that the game is lacking in a lot of areas. The first step to change is acknowledgement, and we all just need to acknowledge that Genshin is not a perfect game. So when you see a critique, don't make excuses for the multi-billion-dollar company. Don't go fighting tooth and nail to prove a point that Genshin is actually good. The hate is overblown. I can assure you, in a lot of its areas, it's not. Acknowledging that the game is deeply lacking in some areas is the only way it will ever improve.
It's the same conversation, though, that we've been having time and time again, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same conversation, right? And I think the reality over here for a lot of people is that if you've already, like, fallen off the boat in Genshin, you might, like, come back on every once in a while, but I just don't really see the same level of hype that I saw for the game ever since Fontaine. And it feels like it's been really on and off, just like nostalgia bait over and over again to try to, like, reacquire that baseline audience. But I just think it's, like, not really there anymore in, like, the post-COVID era. So I think most people will probably, like, I think Shinaznai is really where we're going to start seeing all the cookies, like, sort of crumble. And guess what? We still got a couple of months until then. And there's this much drama now. There's like 2 or 3 more filler patches, bro, until Shinaznai is here. How much worse do you think it's gonna get?
It's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Support the video by sharing this, liking this, hyping this up. But that is all from me, Glaive here, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.
All right. Awesome video again by Glaive. I think this one was like a little bit delayed, but I think it really does get into some of like the big conversational areas over here. This game has so many people in like a fucking vice grip. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's like a goddamn vice grip where they're like too embarrassed to admit that they're just playing slop and that they just like slop and that they need to like somehow elevate this game, put it on like a plateau, have it like transcend over other titles and have that kind of like moral superiority that it doesn't sort of deserve. Because the actual game, the actual quality, the actual like stuff, it's really like fucking bad. Once you've actually played it, once you've actually taken a look, and especially once you start comparing it to more modern titles that are trying way more. And if you've been witnessing the path of Genshin Impact from like version 4.3 onward, dude, it's depressing. It's legitimately one of the most depressing trajectories I think I've ever seen for a game before. Because instead of looking inside to like innovate, they just decided, hey, how badly can we fuck over our players by raising damage ceilings in the game, power creeping, adding enemy or like enemy specific mechanics that only certain characters can tackle, stuff like that. They just took it all up to 10 instead of, well, I don't know, actually embracing competition and making their game better. And to see that as the first reaction, rampant power creep to the first side of competition, Woo-Wah, guys, what do you think's going to happen when Silver Palace is coming out? Power creep's probably getting worse because of NTE. What do you think's going to happen when, what's it called? Rewriting Cadence and all of those come out? Probably not as good either. I don't know. We'll see, guys, but I have so little faith in this title. And I think there's a reason why maybe this is the straw that breaks the camel's back, but we've been saying this every time that there's a Genshin drama. And who knows? Like, I feel like we've had this exact conversation before, and I've only been a CC for like 2 fucking years, bro. So, who knows what the future will hold. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.